I stood on a plant floor for over 6 months and I never saw the leak. 6 months. I walked that floor every day. I knew every machine, I knew every person, and I completely missed a $600,000 problem that was hiding in plain sight. And when I finally found it, I realized I'd been doing the exact same thing at home. The leak doesn't care if it's on your floor or if it's in your family. Today, I'm going to show you the exact framework that I built after that moment so that you can find the missing money and the missing time in your operation and your life before it costs you another quarter. This is the Fireforge Leader for those who refuse to drift in the mirror, in the marriage, in your fatherhood, in your business, and in your mission. I'm Steve Baumgartner, your host. Let's begin. Every business has a version of the story. It doesn't matter whether you're running a manufacturing plant, a restaurant, a construction crew, or even a service company. Somewhere in your operation right now, your most expensive people are doing your cheapest tasks. And it looks like productivity, but it's not. I know because I missed it myself in my career. I was running a facility and we were bleeding margin every quarter. I had walked that floor hundreds of times. I thought I knew every inch of it. I had convinced myself that the problem must be something else. It must be material costs, must be labor rates, the market. I was wrong. And then I'm standing out there watching a machine that just went down. And I see this maintenance technician. He comes out to the call. He walks out to the machine and he looks it over and he figures out what the problem is. Then he leaves and he walks back to the shop to gather up his tools. Then he goes to the parts room to pull what he thinks might be the right parts. Then he walks back out to the machine and realizes that he grabbed the wrong fittings. So he walks back to the parts room, gets the right part, and walks back out. And by the time that he turns his first wrench, he's walked the equivalent of 2 city blocks, and he burnt 25 minutes. This was my best guy. He's not lazy. He's not slow. He is a highly skilled, highly paid professional who spends the majority of his time being a delivery driver for himself. I had watched this happen hundreds of times, but I had never once stopped to ask the reason why. When I finally did the math, 40 maintenance calls a day across the entire plant, 25 minutes of wasted travel each on the low end. That number stopped me cold. The wasted time alone was costing the facility over $600,000 a year. And it wasn't because of the broken machines. It wasn't because of the bad parts. It was in footsteps. And I had been the person in charge, signing off on the budget every month, wondering where this money was going. We didn't hire new people. We didn't hire more people. We didn't buy new machines. What we did was we built every maintenance technician a personalized mobile cart, and it was stocked with the standard tools for the specific equipment that they worked on. And then we also established a parts runner system, a dedicated storeroom's parts runner whose only job was to get the right part to the right tech at the right machine fast when that technician asked for it, so that that technician never had to leave the equipment again when he was on a breakdown. Now I know there's some purists out there, some maintenance and reliability professionals, some lean professionals that say, Steve, you should have gotten to the root cause and you wouldn't have had to do all that. Yeah, and I would have bled out $600,000 more while we were doing the root cause analysis. Don't get me wrong, we didn't skip that step. We did it in parallel. Now, going back to this initial fix, the line output jumped inside the first week. And that's why we didn't do the root cause first. We figured out how to stop the leak first. So the line output jumped inside a week. The same people, the same machines, the same facility, just with these low-skilled tasks removed from the high-skilled hands. The most expensive thing in your business is not that broken machine. It's the highly skilled people doing the low-skilled task and a leader who has become blind to that. Here's the truth that you have to accept. Inefficiency doesn't look like laziness. It actually comes in the way of busy work. You look around your operation and you see people moving. You see activity. You see them sweating. And your brain tells you, we're out there, we're working hard. But motion is not progress. Activity is not output. You are losing money, not because your people don't care, but because you have allowed bad habits to calcify into your standard operating procedures. You have stopped seeing the waste because it's been there so long that it simply looks like furniture. And this isn't just a manufacturing problem. A law firm where the senior partner is answering emails and calls that a $20 an hour assistant could handle. A restaurant where the head chef is running food to tables because the expo position is understaffed. A construction company where the foreman is driving to the supply house because nobody pre-staged the materials. Every one of those is the exact same story as this maintenance technician walking the wrong parts across the plant. Skilled, expensive people doing low skill, cheap tasks and calling it a hard day's work. Think about a slow leak underneath your sink. Drip, drip, drip. Day 1, it's a drop. You don't notice it. Day 30, that wood underneath, it's a little bit damp, but you ignore it. Something must have been spilled. By day 180 though, that whole cabinet is rotted out. The floorboards are warped. And now you're looking at thousands of dollars in a repair bill. Your operation is full of slow leaks. 10 minutes lost here. A redundant approval process here. A task that only exists because nobody ever asks why it exists. You don't see the flood because you're ignoring the drops. And before you think this is only a business problem, I want you to look at your home. I ran the same audit on my own life a few months ago. I have an executive assistant that helps me run the business. And at some point, I realized she couldn't handle, or that she could handle things on the home side too. Scheduling appointments, logistics that were eating my evenings, bookkeeping, those sorts of things. So I expanded her role. We also started paying for things that we used to do ourselves, like lawn care, cleaning, running errands. Things I used to think I was saving money on by doing myself. Then I did the math. My hourly rate on the things I'm best at is not compatible with mowing the lawn. Every hour I spent doing a task someone else could do for $25 an hour, I wasn't spending on the work that actually moves the needle, or the needle with my family. I can't tell you this enough, but what I've learned since I've gotten in my late 40s and now my 50s is time, it's worth way more than money. And I know that's hard to swallow because we chase money our whole lives. But once that you accept that, this audit becomes absolutely obvious. You have to stop looking at the macro numbers and start looking at the micro movements in your business and in your home. You have to interrogate the routine. I'm going to give you the exact framework I use when I walk into a facility to find the missing money, and I also use it at home. I wish I would have had this framework back when I was in industry. I call it the AIM Audit. These 3 steps will help you stop the bleeding. And I want you to run this in your business and in your home, because the leak, it exists in both places. Step 1 is address the bottleneck. In your business, don't try and fix the entire operation at once. Find that one place where work physically piles up. Where's the inventory sitting? Where are people waiting, standing around talking at? I want you to go to that exact spot. I want you to stand there. I don't want you to stand there with a clipboard in your hand like you're auditing them. I don't want you to be looking at a spreadsheet. I want you to look at the physical reality of what's happening in that moment. At home, where does your evening pile up at? Where is the single point of failure, the only one that you can make the decision at, or settle the conflict, or get things done? That's your bottleneck. I want you to find it. Step 2 is interrogate the routine. So if it's in your business, I want you to find the person that does the job where the work's piling up at, and ask them why 5 times. Why do you walk over there? They might tell you because the parts are over there. Ask them, why are the parts there? They might answer because receiving drops them off there. Keep digging, keep asking why until you hit that root cause. Don't accept because we've always done it this way as an answer. At home, ask the same question about the tasks that are eating your evening. Why are you the only one that's doing the grocery run? Why are you the one scheduling every appointment? Why are you the one that has to be present for every decision? Ask why until you find the real answer, which is usually you would never build a system, or you've never delegated, or you've never really asked the question before. Step 3 is measure the delta between those 2 points. In your business, quantify the wasted movement. If a technician wastes 25 minutes per call and runs 40 calls per day, do the math. Put a hard dollar amount on the waste. When it stops being an annoyance and becomes a financial number, it then becomes urgent. At home, I want you to calculate what your evening hours are actually worth. If your hourly rate is $200 an hour and you're spending 3 hours a week on tasks that a $25 an hour assistant can handle, that's not being frugal. That's a $22,000, $500 a year decision. And it's coming out of the time you could be spending with your kids, investing in your marriage, or recovering so that you can perform even better tomorrow. Measure that delta and make a decision. Now, I will tell you that I did hire the lawn out for a while when I was traveling more. I have recently taken that back because I find peace in doing it. But you need to make the decision. Not just automatically assume since it costs money, I need to do it. Make the best decision for the greatest resource, which is your time. If you don't find these leaks, I guarantee you your competitors will. They will use those recovered margins to buy better equipment, pay your best people to come work for them, and eventually you're going to find it harder to stay in business. Guys, this isn't theory, this is survival. Here's your homework for this week, and there's 2 parts. First, tomorrow morning, don't go straight to your office. Walk straight to the floor, to the part of your business where work actually happens. Pick one workstation, one role, one process. Stand there for 15 minutes. Don't look at the output, look at the movement. Run step 1 of the AIM and find one bottleneck. Second, tonight before you go to bed, ask yourself the same question about your home. Where is the bottleneck? What task are you doing every week that someone else could do? And what is it actually costing you in time with the people who matter most in your life? If you've been walking that same plant floor, that same business floor, warehouse, whatever it is, for years, and the margins are still shrinking, you have gone blind to the waste. You need outside eyes. Go look in the link description and book your enterprise audit. We will find what you've stopped seeing and help you address it. If this episode gave you a new lens to look through, I want you to share it with someone running a business or a household who needs to hear it. And I want you to hit subscribe. I'm Steve Baumgartner, your host of The Forge. I want you to stay in the fire.